Hey everyone, week 6 of the LCS has a solid top 4 in a line with a clump of teams behind them trying to break ahead. We'll see if any of those teams can shake things up with the games today. And up first, we have a battle at the bottom with Clutch Gaming versus 100 Thieves, where powerhouses like Bang, Piglet, and Huni hope to make that push for playoffs. Hello everyone, welcome to LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we narrow in on the playoff race and maybe teach you a thing or two about positioning until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champion Select. And if we pull up the standings, we can see the top 4 fall in a line with Team Liquid, then Cloud9, TSM, and FlyQuest all neatly in a row, followed by 4-way ties at 4 and 6. Last night, we saw some perhaps surprising roster moves coming into the weekend, both at the top and bottom of the standings. Most notably, Echo Fox will be subbing out Rush for their Academy jungler, Panda.
And this one feels the most to me like one that's done out of like someone clearly underperforming of all the ones that we're going to go through here. We were talking on the desk last week about if Rush was the worst performing jungler in the LCS, and it's no surprise to see him now coming out. And Panda, who had some time in scouting grounds and collegiate scene, and a little bit in the academy as well, playing.
Right, and I think something noteworthy here is you see this tweet from Rush where it seems to be more issues than just playing issues. Maybe the community is getting to him, maybe he's like reading too many things, and it seems to be there's some issues outside the game itself.
Yeah, he definitely knows what's been going wrong. He's gotten a lot of feedback, and you can see even on his
feedback.
Stream. Yeah, feedback. And during his streams, where he streams pretty much every weekend after LCS days, it definitely has taken a hard toll.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty rough, so we'll see how Panda does with the lineup. Next up, though, we have a sub we've seen before. Blabber is in for Svenskeren on Cloud9. Blabber was one of the guys who turned C9 season around last split. Hopefully not the same here, because we're doing really well.
Yeah, I think this is a bit more of an optimistic, kind of uplifting substitution in here, because people remember how Cloud9 found success last year by so many substitutions with the Academy roster. And even though Blabber did end last year's Worlds on a bad game, people were really looking forward to seeing some more of him. And we even had Meteos on the dive. He ranked Blabber as the most difficult jungler to go against in scrims.
Now, why was that?
He said it was because Blabber does a lot more things that he doesn't expect, and it's
Like
part
a solo
of.
queue player? Is that a nice way of saying it? Yeah, brain off player.
I think it was much more of a, like, Meteos would plan something out, and Blabber would be in an unexpected area for him. That was, a good move to like hide information, where as a lot of junglers kind of show more information, I guess.
I think it's an interesting time for it too, because you're going up against Golden Guardians, who has been on a bit of a hot streak. So this is a good time to put in this change. So you're not against like a top team that you don't want to lose to, and you're not against a bottom team that you're expected to beat anyways. I think, Blabber will have to play well to beat Golden Guardians. C9's still the favorite, but this is a great time to test him because it is a competent opponent.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're chasing for first place right now, right? They've said in multiple interviews that they're trying to overtake Team Liquid and take the first place spot. So they do have a little bit of wiggle room of trying different things out. And I'll be interested to see if he does well, because it's been a while since we've seen him play.
Oh, speaking of course, good jungle subs, we've got Optic Gaming with 2 great junglers, and Meteos is back in on the lineup now. Dardak played his 1 game on Sunday. He's out. Meteos back in.
Yeah, and this one's kind of like what we were saying, where it's like a good problem to have, 2 good junglers, and you're trying to figure out which one works better with the entire team. And both of them have picked up some wins recently, so it's just figuring which one works better, not just for the team, but also with who you're playing against. Like, do you want a more explosive jungler, or like Meteos was, or Kobe was saying, someone who plans a lot of things out?
Yeah, and Dardak in his interview said that they put him in that game because he had played with so many of the people on that team.
Yeah.
Turns out he's played on a lot of teams, and he has played with most of the LCS players.
Yeah.
So there are going to be more opportunities to use that.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of the changes actually were all junglers, no? The 3
were all
roster games that we
junglers.
just had. There's got to be something against junglers, man. People are like, I don't like my jungler, give me a different one. Or they just get blamed for all the things that
It is the most blamed role universally across all ratings.
Is that a biased opinion from our resident jungler?
It's the easiest to play a role, so you just swap it out for someone else, and you get someone who fits with the team better.
To play.
Yeah, it's super free. Even I did it. It's great. Now,
Wow.
Meteos, of course, weighed in on his thoughts on Optic's roster swap.
I made it to Worlds. Just saying.
Generally, when you're low in the standings, people are going to discredit the players. But I really think that me and Dardak have been 2 of the stronger junglers in the region for a while. And so if the team is doing better with Dardoch over me, I don't take that as like getting benched from a bottom team. It's just like we're a new team with 2 good junglers. I just want what's best for the team. If they think a strategy with Dardoch's going to win, then by all means go ahead. If they feel like I'm going to do better, then I'll do my best on the Rift. So there's not really like any like rivalry there.
Well, we have our top 4 teams that we expect to see in playoffs. So of the remaining 6 underneath them, the question is who's going to break into the postseason? We're going to bring back the Wheel of Misfortune with the bottom 6, and I will challenge each one of these esteemed analysts to tell me how that team firmly places themselves in playoffs themselves. Hi, you've got 6 logos, up to you.
All right, I am up.
Remember, you only have 30 seconds once your team gets chosen to.
I have magic mind power. Like a Jedi.
You were telling your hand to go.
Right.
All right, Counter Logic Gaming.
Okay, so Counter Logic Gaming, they're actually looking really strong. I, in fact, believe in Power Evo. I think Darshan's gonna make a comeback. You saw him on the cooldown the other day singing, and his singing skills are amazing, similar to his league skills. So I'm really excited for the duo. That's rude. And they've been doing pretty well. I mean, granted, they've lost 3 out of the 4 past games. I believe they're on an upturn. I have faith in them. That's something that people need to have for CLG, for them to do well. And
30 seconds. I forgot to tell you this 30-second limit.
That's okay, I did it for you.
Yeah.
thank you.
To I's point about their recent losses, they have been playing all top 4 teams in these 2 weeks. So it is a tough
Clutch
schedule
Gaming?
for them.
But did you hear the singing, Mark?
I really like that singing.
30 seconds, Kobe, spin the wheel.
My turn to
When
spin?
it lands.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a punch.
All right. Golden Guardians, 30 seconds, go!
Ooh, Golden Guardians. All right, you have Froggen in the mid lane. He is one of the biggest carries in the entire league right now. Biggest DPS numbers, biggest damage share. He needs to be on a DPS mage that he prefers. That is Victor that he utilized very well versus Rush specifically, and the Karthus that he utilized very effectively against multiple other teams. Anivia, we can throw that one on the sideboard. I don't think we should rush that one in. But basically, we should have contracts trying to camp around the mid lane to ensure that Froggen will have the money to power.
It doesn't matter how much
these
money he
AP
has, it's too late. You can't say those words anymore. Kobe, you've been cut off. Mark, on a scale of 1 to 0, how good was that?
It was okay. I agreed with most of what he said.
Is one good?
Okay, it's not on the scale.
You gotta hit the mark here with this one.
I like it.
Get yourself to that wheel.
All right, I'm gonna turn my back to
ready?
the camera and just go full.
That is not how you're supposed to do this, by the way.
Blah! I
You
can do
can't.
what I want.
You don't turn your back to the camera. That's bad for stage
It
direction.
was actually the best spin,
All right,
though.
Optic Gaming, go!
Optic Gaming. All right, so Crown is obviously a beast. They have good shot calling through Big that had a great season last split in summer. They just need to figure out their jungle position, which is what they're currently trying to do with these swaps between Meteos and Dardoch. Dardoch's more explosive in the early game. He knows a lot of the people that he's played against.
Meteos has been invading enemy jungle. What do you mean? Early game.
He's still aggressive in the early game, but it's different levels
He's got
where he's
huge
trying
kill
to,
participation.
Yeah, he has huge kill participation, but he's not as like, I'm gonna go make a crazy play. He's more the Olaf, run it down, get a good kill in lane or something like that. But either way, they have really good early games. They need to figure out their late game.
Running it down is basically what Optic's doing. Yeah, I agree. All
right.
right. Well, that is it for the Wheel of Misfortune.
Why did you interrupt me in the middle of my...
You kept looking at me.
I was just looking at someone.
He's looking for a response.
He's seeking validation, and Mark got none here. We're going to take a break after that catastrophe of a segment, but when the countdown returns, we return to Kobe, who takes you to school, and he takes a look at patch 9.4, so you better come back. It's going to be exciting.
Hey, universally good, can use in all situations. Sit down, class is in session. Welcome to class number 2. Last week we talked about dive compositions, so this week we're actually going to examine teamfight compositions and what makes them work. Now, I got a lot of questions from people asking about the various aspects of teamfight compositions, and creating one is actually very simple. You just want your tanky guys for the front line, your DPS for the back line, and then you have some supportive champions to keep your DPS alive, as well as hard CC to engage or peel for this DPS champion. And that's the easy part, though. I mean, so you guys have built your own teamfight composition. It's very simple. You know, you get your back line, your front line. However, there are going to be some important things to remember. First is going to be information gathering. Before you set up for your team fight, you want to track people like the enemy engagers, as well as the enemy targets that you want to go after. Position for your team fight. Positioning is key. that DPS that we talked about needs to be behind the tanks. The tanks have to use their crowd control to get space for the DPS to actually work with. And of course, target selection. Don't target the support first. Go for the high priority targets unless you're going straight front to back. Let's pull up a clip because it's much better explained when you can actually have a visual of it here. And this is the Teamfight composition that TSM drafted. We just went over. It's great front to back. However, TSM are going to make some mistakes here. So the first thing, the information gathering that we talked about, you can see Niski and Svenskeren, the engagers for Cloud9, are doing a very good job staying out of enemy vision. So TSM have no idea where they are. Galio and Camille can engage from a very long ways away, and they have their eyes on the DPS, the Lucian, far bottom corner here. And while the setup seems good to TSM because they think they've caught this Braum out away from the rest of the team, it's a low priority target that's just the support. And they're actually going to overcommit to this low priority target because they didn't gather enough information. They will be punished. So let's resume the clip here and we'll see how Cloud9 punish them. We have the Siren that goes in. Look at this spacing now. He has actually used the charge up, knock up on the support rather than Sneaky, where he just forced the flash of the AD carry, the highest priority target that they want to kill. And Sven is moving in because he thinks that Broken Blade is going to help him follow up and get their #1 target. However, with everybody from TSM focusing on this support, it makes it very easy for Cloud9 to flip the switch. If that Q had gone the other way, it would have been a much better situation for TSM. But Cloud9 see the opening, they all jump onto Sven, the DPS is gone, and once that happens, the team fight is over. But when I was reviewing this clip, I actually found something even more exciting. This is nuts. Just at the last second, this is his health bar right here. This is the Silas, that is Licorice. He was spamming his ultimate. It just came off of cooldown when he had under 10 HP. He gets the Zillion ultimate. That's what this magnifying glass is trying to show you, the purple chain coming out, because Zillion here for TSM actually walked up. That's another thing highlighting positioning. If Zillion had walked around into Fog of War, then Silas wouldn't have been able to steal the Zillion ultimate. They still could have come out with a team fight victory. Now let's roll the rest of the clip and we see it play out. See, Smoothie, this counter around him, that's the Silas just stole his ultimate, was able to revive. Then you can see Svenskeren actually goes around into the Fog of War. They re-engage, and you can kill the tank last. That's how ideally you want your team fight to go. So we have another example for it because there are some more things that we want to examine. Those were basics of team fighting. There's a more advanced topic that we can do a quick little hit on here. That is champion synergy and wombo combos. Super fun that everybody likes to pull off. Yasuo and Alistar, very common. You know, the synergy is very apparent. AoE knockup, then the Yasuo can pull off his ultimate and continue the knockup. But also you have to keep in mind the damage that LeBlanc can bring can be AoE, even though she is an assassin, if you double distortion. So you have to watch out for all of these abilities being used in tandem. And let's get into the FlyQuest clip where we can see them actually pull this off. While C9 in the last clip came out ahead with some great team fighting, this one they're going to overcommit. So let's just roll this one through and we'll get right into it here because C9, they're feeling very, very powerful at the moment. They have everybody roaming down through the river. And so they go on the first person they see, Santorin, which, again, another tanky, low priority target, much like the Braum from the last clip. And C9 have actually overcommitted here. Even though they see Aurelia top, let's roll this through and we can see that Sneaky, the Cassiopeia main damage is far away from the rest of the team. So they're committing here with 3 people in the river on a low priority Sejuani. FlyQuest can then disengage and we have amazing re-engage from JJ. If you just saw his Alistar headbutt onto the Galio and then flash to reposition his Q for the 3-man knockup into the Yasuo ultimate, into Pobelter coming down with the LeBlanc with that double distortion. If we roll it through, you'll see the Kindred gets 100% to 0. Wombo combo destroyed. No Kindred ultimate can come out. They layer the knockup. Sejuani ultimate even came down on top to finish off that stun. And that is how, even at a numbers disadvantage, you can turn around these team fights with good, strong champion synergies and good timing. They cleaned up the last kill, and that was pretty much the high point for that game for them. Now, it may look like team fighting is very simple, but a lot does go into executing it at a high level. We'll continue to track this topic as our class continues, but that's going to do it for this episode. Back to you guys at the desk. And I will join you as well.
Hey,
Great.
welcome back.
Welcome back, Kobe.
Are you still a professor, or are you something else now?
I think he's more of a substitute teacher right now. He's the cool guy who plays a video during
I
class.
like this high five line, too.
Yeah, it
it's
makes you
good.
feel good about it,
Well,
right?
that's going to do it for us. Of course, there's more around the corner, but don't worry, when we return, we have another Dueling Draft segment where we ask the question, can Golden Guardian strategy endure when they draft against Cloud9? That's coming up in 2 minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown. Today's games will be kicking off with Clutch versus 100 Thieves, a very exciting game. And then we have followed by TSM scoring up against Echo Fox with 2 more matches going on before Optic opposes Team Liquid to round out the day. Now, looking ahead of that, we're going to go to Game 3, where Cloud9's aggressive style have propelled them to second place, but they're facing off against Golden Guardians, who have hit a stride with their late game compositions. So to strategize how these will go up against each other, we've got Isaac and myself here for another Dueling Draft segments. We've already gone ahead and pre-populated the bans. There was one interesting, I think, that stood out to both Isaac and I was the fact that I banned Lucian on blue side, which is not something you usually see.
Yeah, the blue side Lucian ban was something I was pretty happy about. I also don't think that the Golden Guardians bot lane is their win condition, and there's 3 bot lane bans, so I was happy to see that. And the Kindred ban here for me really is a nod to Blabber, who has been so strong on the champion, is getting sub back in today. And I wanted to deny both poke compositions here from C9, which they've been so good on with the Zoe, and also help to protect Froggen from some of the tough matchups with the Cassio ban.
And the Blabber point's really interesting because so far, whenever we've seen Blabber play for C9, they tend to comp around him like they did all last summer. And coming in here, I wasn't exactly sure what they were going to do, but I did go for the Lucian ban so I could take Rek'Sai first pick, super strong in the meta. He played it twice in the academy last night, killed on it. A lot of people think it's one of the new strong champions in North America, so give him comfort right off the bat. And I did this, that's why I banned the Lucian on blue sides. I did not want to give away Lucian to their bot lane, even though I agree it's not really their main win condition.
Yeah, okay, so well, that's a pretty good pick. I must admit, I was hoping to grab the Rek'Sai myself in the first round. I'm not going to be able to do that, but I do want to be able to lock in a pretty strong jungler for myself. So I am going to grab Olaf with my first pick here, and then I'm also going to look to grab my AD carry here, as I will have to grab the Ezreal.
Yeah, of course. Ezreal, one of the main champions in the meta.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting thing because I was hoping I could get the Ezreal. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, C9 is so strong with their poke compositions, so taking away the Zoe and bans and early picking the Ezreal was one of my main strategies to avoid playing against that. I think that's such a unique comp that they can play, and one of their really most powerful styles.
So even though I'm bummed to not be able to get that for myself, I still think there's a lot of good champions here for our bot lane to take right away. Sivir Alistair, we've seen C9 second rotation this a number of times. It secures your bot lane. You have your jungler taken as well, so I'm not showing my solo lanes quite yet, which is why I went for those 2.
All right, now for the top lane, I am going to lock in my Scion pick, or yes, my Scion pick here. And this is something that I think is just such a strong blind pick in the meta. I can also ban to actually protect it if I need to in the second round. But we have seen almost all of success for Golden Guardians is actually through these teamfight top laners, with Urgot getting actually nerfed quite heavily. That is out of the meta. I think Scion is the safest blind pick top laner in the game right now. So this is a teamfight composition that I'm looking at right now, and that's going to give me some flexibility with that.
All right, you can go ahead for your next ban because you got to go up again. I'm bummed that the Scion ban came in because that is what Honster seems to be playing in these late game teamfight compositions. A lot of Urgot, a lot of Scion, a lot of safe laners. Then they can play more around mid lane.
I'm going to ban out the Aatrox because it's a flex pick, right? This is something that I think is another strength of C9. This is a pick that they can send both to top lane as well as to mid lane, and it's a strong early pick. The Brand, you can
No, I'm not banning Brand. That's a misclick. Banning the Braum, we're mismatched on supports right now, and I would like to get rid of some of the best ones, especially safe ones for Ole, who I think has been exploitable at times.
Again, I'm going to continue to try to target some of those solo laners, especially flex picks. I want to make sure that I know what I'm dealing with here. So flex picks really are my biggest worry, and I'm going to take out another flex pick here. This is something that both Niski and Licorice have played and have been very effective on.
So this is interesting. I was hoping I could grab the Silas as well. Not going to get it. And I kind of had a contingency plan where if I can grab the Silas, I'm fine leaving the Karthus up. But if I'm not going to be able to get it, I want to ban it away because otherwise I'll just steal your ult and I'm more effective in the early game. Since I'm not going to be able to get that and Karthus is a bit of a weird pick in the mid lane, I don't want to make Licorice or my bot lane have to deal with ults coming in globally. So that was my my kind of contingency ban if the Sylas ban came in.
All right, well, for my next pick, I want a little bit of playmaking. I do think this has historically been one of Ole's best picks. It also is fairly strong, into Alistar as an aggressive support. You can obviously flay out of the combo. You have the Lantern for a lot of additional safety there, and this is, again, leaning towards that team fighting style that I think is very, very strong for Golden Guardians.
All right, well, this is one of the most popular top lane carry champions right now. It does get blinded a fair amount. So I'm just going to try and pick Jason Sion. I know it's risky. A lot of people are scared about it. Sion is a little weaker in the early game, so I'm hoping this works out okay. But it's always a little sketchy. And then kind of staying with a more early game focus. Something for Niski that I want to go for is, where's Syndra? Syndra, there she is. So I'm going for a lot more lane dominant style, pushing winning lanes ideally, which gives the Rek'Sai a lot of room to breathe.
Yep, certainly is the case. I do think that Olaf can help to deal with some of the early power there of the Jace, and it is a matchup that as long as Haunter doesn't get too far behind in, I think he should be okay. And I really am looking for comfort here for Froggen. I want the victor. He has actually played this matchup before. He has been successful in it. We saw how good he has been as a team fighter on the pick. This is giving the Moon a tremendous amount of wave clear. I think this is really a strong team fighting team. The plan is Olaf is helping to shore up some of these early lane disadvantages, try to protect and track against the Rek'Sai, and get you to the team fighting stage where I think they have a much easier to execute comp.
All right, so with that done, we're now going to go ahead and ask you guys, Twitch chat and YouTube, who you think won this draft. So go ahead and spam chat with Mark Z or Azael with who you think did a better job of it. We'll kind of run through what our thoughts were heading into the drafts and what we were aiming to do a little bit with kind of our win conditions. For me, I know you're going to go mid-late game team fight, so I want to kind of go aggressive early and get a topside carry. I was a little bummed about the Sylas, and I consider maybe I should have taken that instead of the Alistar because neither of us had supports yet, and maybe we can both get strong supports. But that was what I was going for, a lot more focus on my solo lanes with Blabber, because I wanted to get him in a comfortable position as his first game of the season.
And for me, I think Golden Guardian's strength is their late game, is their team fighting. I wanted to get Froggen on a comfort pick. Getting something like the Victor, the Karthus, or even the Anivia, if it was appropriate, was a priority for me. And I wanted Haunter to be on a very stable pick, going up against Licorice, and also to limit flex picks, so I could know where these picks are going and get appropriate matchups, because I do think if Golden Guardians is getting counterpicked in lane, C9 superior laning could bulldoze the game.
Yeah, so we'll see right there. It's pretty close down the middle almost. Isaac winning just a little bit.
Well, you know.
Yeah, just big brain, amazing guy. We're actually gonna have to send Azael to the Battle Arena because he's casting game one, so thanks so much for doing this with me. And I'm gonna go rejoin the desk for the rest of predictions. Thank you.
All right, Mark, here you go.
I don't want the high five line. No high five line.
What's funny is I was going to swing it away from you as like the joke.
I knew there was
You got
something up. There was
denied.
something wrong with it.
Yeah, it was a tainted high five. All right, well, we've got your predictions now to talk about how the day is going to play out, and it looks very, very similar, except for Kobe. Here in Clutch versus 100 Thieves, otherwise kind of expected
How
here.
can you guys still have so much faith?
I
in
own their
100?
stock. I have to.
I mean, they're both at 3 and 7.
They keep making these mistakes. I had to switch it up. You know, Clutch, I feel like they still have the possibility of, DeMonte is definitely in a slump, but if you remember back to the beginning of the season, he was playing extremely well, the Akali game, the Galio game, and I think that they can
but
bring
those
it
characters
back.
got nerfed, right?
That's true.
They're not as strong in meta right now. The champions that he was destroying on are no longer the stronger champions of the mid lane. And then when I'm thinking about 100 Thieves versus Clutch, in my mind, I don't think any team's going to win before 20, 25 minutes. So you have to think about 30 minutes. And I'm thinking about Piglet versus Bang. One's a more recent world champion than the other. And I got to say, there may or may not be a skill discrepancy there when it comes to team fighting. So I have to put my money into the team fighting with Bang.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Going to send it over to Captain Flowers and Azael to get ourselves into game one.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, joined by Isaac, Azael, Cummings, Bentley. Fantastic job on the draft. Congratulations on your victory.
It was free. What can I
Easy
say?
money. Easy claps from my boy Azael as we are about to get into the first game of the day here. We are into the second round robin, the second half of the spring split. It's time to put up or shut up, and the two teams about to play in front of us right now, Clutch Gaming and 100 Thieves, have a long journey ahead if they want to make it into playoffs.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, these guys are basically facing a must-win situation. Such high expectations, especially for the 100 Thieves roster coming into this season. People were thinking at this point in the year they would be challenging for the top positions, and instead they are